Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and today we're gonna have a long one. So I was gonna do this as three, basically like sets of three character videos where I do each individual bounty hunter. But then I decided I'm just gonna do them all at the same time, and I have something fun and special at the end. So I'll put some timestamps in there if you want to skip to it, or if you just want to watch the whole thing. It'll be a long video. Hope you enjoy. One of the reasons I like doing these long form videos is just because. It's just fun to talk, ramble, kind of think about it, and I've always enjoyed this type of thing too, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. But let's jump right into it. So we're going to do the Empire Strikes Back Bounty Hunters. I'm not going to include Boba Fett, I already covered him, but we're going to do all the other guys. IGDA, Dengar, who barely is off screen right here, Forlom, Bossk, Zuckuss, all the fun ones, and there's I think 14 of them to go through, so let's jump into it. So first one's first is Forlom from Rebel Storm. He's 21. Pretty good stats. 18. So 70, 18, 8, and 20. He's got Droid, Bounty Hunter, and Careful Shot. So overall, I'm a fan of these powers. For being someone old, this is really solid. He can get great attack. He has really nice stats, actually, for the most part, to be honest with you. So overall, I think he's a good one. He's got great hit points, 70 hit points on a 21 shooter. No matter who you are, is really solid. But his survivability it's not awesome. It's got nothing to his name, nothing to help him out. Of course, you could probably fix that with a lot of ways. But his attack is great. And you can, just by default, it's pretty good, but you can bump it up and make it really nice. His max damage is fair, it's just one shot, but the attack is high usually, so you'll be able to land the shot. Special abilities, I think, are pretty good. They're good, for a Rebel Storm especially. His ability synergy, I think, is really good. I think those things, even though it's limited, it definitely synergizes well with what he's all about. I don't think he's super versatile. He's just kind of like just a careful shooting guy. He doesn't have extra, bags of tricks here and there to take care of a lot of situations, but that doesn't take anything away from him. And then for my Empire Strikes Back Bounty Hunter score, so I'm giving him a really good. I think he's definitely solid. Probably one of the better ones of the of the Rebel Storm ones. Blue Milk, pretty solid on him. Sharpshooter. So I just say in summary, I think he's a really nice. I think he's still one of the few really decent and solid Rebel Storm characters. His nice stats, they're easy to work with. If you get some good droid commander effects, you could probably bump him up and make him do some cool things with him as well, if you don't want to spend 35 or whatever and use the more expensive ones. And overall, I think he's a decent sharpshooter. He's a sharpshooter that doesn't have sniper and accurate shot, which is kind of weird, but he's more of a careful shot sharpshooter basically. So maybe I should have just changed his designation to a careful shot. So let's go on to Forlom Bounty Hunter. This is one of my personal favorites. I drew him forever ago, and I've always just loved abusing paralysis. It's so much fun. So he's more expensive. He's from Bounty Hunter. 33, 90, 18, 9, and 30 damage this time. And so we got Droid, Bounty Hunter +4, Careful Shot, Paralysis, and now he's rapport with Zuckuss. Just a little bit of rapport. Sometimes I wish rapport in general was stronger, like maybe 2 or 3 to be more special, but it is what it is. Overall, nice abilities. Adding Paralysis with 30 damage. Is fantastic. There's so few powers where you can shoot, do damage, and activate someone. So I think with him, that's kind of what makes him super awesome. And he's just got some upgrades a little bit over the other guy. So overall, I think he's a great piece. His hit points are great. Doesn't really have any survivability stuff. The reason I didn't bottom him out is because you can at least use paralysis in situations to activate people. So it's kind of like, defense through a little bit of offense. So I got to consider that. His attack is great. His max damage is pretty good. He only gets one shot, but having base damage of 30 is nice. His max damage, abilities, great abilities. I really like him a lot for the most part, mostly just around paralysis. His ability synergy is awesome, though. So now we're adding paralysis to this as well, and 30 damage, and they all go together to, really nail especially unique characters. His versatility, I think, is really good this time. Paralysis can help with that. Overall, Bounty Hunter score, I think he's awesome. I really enjoy using this guy a lot. So I know, even though I guess that is awesome, he has some other things, maybe like the survivability is not as awesome, but keep him in the back, abuse paralysis, you'll be in great shape. And in my opinion, I think if you mix this one with Zuckuss Bounty Hunter, you'll have two guys a snare rifle with paralysis. That could be a pretty sweet duo. So I like that very much. And overall, really fun, really fun sharpshooter. I'd love to hear what things you guys can do. You guys can always mix these droid bounty hunters with like General Grievous. Those various General Grievuses that allow it. Do some cool things. Give him twin, give him extra attack, something like that. So, big fan. I think he's the best. Usually the Dark Times bounty hunter is the better one. In this case, I think it's the bounty hunter one. So yeah, let's keep moving for Forlom, Droid Mercenary. So this was interesting because he's got a lot of buffs overall, hit points stats wise, but they basically replace paralysis with stun gas. And in my opinion, I think that's a massive downgrade because paralysis, you got to shoot and activate someone, where on this one, it's like, hey, if people are around you, you can activate them all and then, run away if you wanted to. But for me, I kind of get what you're going for. Like, it's not a terrible power. It's okay. It could have a use. But I'd so much rather have paralysis, even with slightly worse stats. So overall, he is a nice character. I think he's really good. It's just I would not choose to use him over the other Forlom personally. That's just kind of my take on it. So taking a look, though, from those things aside, his hit points, though, are awesome. 110 hit points for a shooter. I don't care who you are, that's really good. His survivability, it is fair. He's more beefy. He's got, stun gas in melee situations can be really good, especially if you're with teammates that can dish the damage. You can activate. So I think that is something to consider. His attack is great. Now we're at 10 attack, so we're just kind of like a little bit higher and higher. You could get 18 attack against uniques if he doesn't move. That's really accurate. Overall special abilities, they're really good. They're not awesome like they were before, and his ability synergy is nowhere near as good, unfortunately, because I think paralysis kind of takes that away. His versatility is good, though. Solid. He can do a good shot. He can do some stun gas if he needs to. He's got some options, but I don't love it as much, like I said. And overall, I think he's a really good character. On Blue Milk, you can tell that the community was kind of bummed with him losing paralysis. I think kind of what happened is they said, okay, when we redo these minis, do a respin on these bounty hunters, we're going to give the snare rifle, the stop moving power, if you want to call it that, we're going to give it to Zuckuss bounty hunter, and then Droid Mercenary, he can do other things or whatever. So maybe that's a thinking, I don't know. But anyways, in summary, so he's got better stats than the previous Forlom, so that does count for something. He replaces paralysis with stun gas, that's a downgrade. But yeah, he's still beefy. I think he could work great in certain squads. He can dish some damage. He's got great attack, and stun gas isn't bad, but it's something. So let's move on to the next bounty hunter, the next set. So I think the next set bounty hunters we're going to get to next is IG-88. So IG-88 and Forlom have always been my favorite. I really like the droid bounty hunters. There's something about them that are just so cool, and IG-88 is just has this really just scary, merciless, just kind of feel and look to him. And it was fun to see them bring, an IG assassin droid, IG-11, and the Mandalorian, because you could really see all the articulation, the firepower was really cool. So, but the original IG-88 from Rebel Storm, I don't think he's terrible, but he definitely falls behind. He basically is very expensive, for 37. Holy smokes. Got solid stats for a shooter, but he just has double attack. So it's like he's just kind of a stats person. That's really all it is. And a lot of the Rebel Storm guys, they actually have decent stats. They just have no abilities, so it holds him back. But taking a look, his hit points though, for a shooter at 37. And when I'm talking about the stats in this case, it's really just the attack, because the hit points, they're fair. I like to see maybe a little more hit points on a shooter, maybe like 90 or 100, maybe like 90. At 37, so I think he's got fair hit points. His survivability, I just don't, it's bad. It's not awful because, when in doubt, you got some offense. Offense is defense in this case. His attack, though, is awesome. So for a 37, having 11 base attack is pretty wild. Most of the time, it's more like 10, maybe 8 or 9, honestly. So that's great. That's a good thing about him. His special abilities are fair, at least with Double and Droid and Bounty Hunter. Ability synergy is fair. The versatility is fair. I just didn't want to trash him too much. It's okay. He can, having Double and having high attack, he can do some damage here and there. It's whatever. And overall, I think he's a fair. I think he's fair. He's not bad. He's just kind of like meh. He's really falling behind the times. There's better options. He's not like Forlom from Rebel Storm, where he's an old character, but like still kind of interesting, sort of. But not him. So in summary, he's got some amazing base attack going for him, but he's just so expensive. And otherwise, he's very underwhelming, and that's just kind of the way to summarize it. So anyway, I hope this isn't too annoying. I have a 3D printer rolling. Some fun update. I'll send one soon, but I have some really awesome improvements going on with my boxes. I'll show. Might as well just show you real quick. Here's the new box. Looks like the old one, but the difference is though is I got new tabs going on, so that when you put it on here, you got a little bit of clutch, and they'll stay on, which I'm very excited about. So just watch out. It takes to get a whole set ready to sell. It takes quite a bit of time. So I'll probably post something. Maybe I'll send a post out to get a feeler for what people in the community would be interested in, and I'll also try to figure out what good pricing is. But back to the video. So okay, IG88 Bounty Hunter. So even though this guy isn't like incredible, the thing I like about the Bounty Hunter series is they gave him a ton of cool powers, just like tons and tons of powers, lots of versatility, but they forgot to upgrade the stats for the most part. So what you end up happening is you have these guys with all these cool abilities, but then they don't have the staying power to be around for a while, and they're still expensive. Whereas in Dark Times, they basically said, okay, let's boost the stats, and let's kind of simplify this guy to like do a couple things instead of just do everything. And you'll see this trend over and over again here. Like we have Flamethrower, Sonic Stunner, whereas you just kind of get rid of both of those and change it to Pulse Cannon. But taking a look at this guy, he's got basically the same stats. They traded in the 2 attack for Bounty Hunter 6, so whatever that's worth, but he has Opportunist now. So you got Bounty Hunter 6, very nice. I think only Boba Fett's the only guy who can do that, so it's very good. Double attacks rate. Flamethrower 20 is alright, I just don't think he'll use it very often. Opportunist, very nice. It's kind of a staple of IG88. Sonic Stunner, which is a cool power, you know. It's it kind of reminds me a little bit of Sith Sorcery, kind of. But Sith Sorcery is not replace its attacks. So overall, nice assortment of powers. I like that he's Opportunist and Bounty Hunter 6, so he could get some sweet damage, sweet attack against some unique characters. So I'm taking a look at what we got. Unfortunately, though, for how expensive he is, 44, his hit points are bad. Like when you're a 44 shooter, I'm expecting more, or at least in general, you'll see more. His range survivability is not good. His melee survivability is better because he does have Sonic Stunner, and that can be useful in those close situations. His attack is great, and it's kind of a two-edged sword here. Like 9 attack, that's okay, but you know, if he's attacking this guy, he gets +6. If he has opportunity, he gets more. So I didn't want to just throttle him and say he's got the best attack ever, because that's conditional. But I'd say more often than not, you'll probably use it. So he does have great attack. He's got great max damage. You know, he could do 60 if you want to. Very good. His ability Synergy, also very good. I didn't think it was incredible because he has a lot of various things going, but I do like the Bounty Hunter 6, Opportunist, and Double all working together, so I think that's very nice. His versatility, though, is awesome. Like, he's got, you know, he can do all that damage if he wants to. You can wreck the day for a unique character. Flamethrower, if he wants to do some auto damage to a group, by all means, go ahead. Sonic Center could be nice if the situation prevents itself, so I think he's got some nice versatility just kind of all around. And in general, I think he's really good. Blue Milk, also would basically agree. And his specialties, I just think the IG88s are just very versatile bounty hunters. They can do a lot of things. They can really knock out their targets. They got great attack, great damage output. And it's just kind of very straightforward. So overall, I like him. It's just I don't think his survivability is wonderful, which is too bad. So we're on to an IG88 Assassin Droid from Dark Times. He's a 43. Got some boosts in the stats now, 40 more HP. 1 more defense, 9 attack still, 20 damage, and it's all the same powers, but you replace Flamethrower and you replace Sonic Stunner with Pulse Cannon. Pulse Cannon's nice, so it replaces attacks, sight, 40 damage to the target and to each character adjacent to that target. On a save of 11, reduce the damage to 10. So that's pretty cool. It's just like, you know, you don't even want to bother rolling. Maybe it's like you you don't get Opportunist. Maybe you don't get Bounty Hunter, and you can just be like, I'm just gonna blow Pulse Cannon down there and just shoot you. So I love the buff and stats, and I think Pulse Cannon is a really fun power, really really fun. Overall, let's see what we got. I think he's great. His hit points are awesome, so he's got a really nice buff going on there. The range survivability is decent-ish, and the reason I say that is just because he's much more tanky than he was before, much more beefy. He's got great defense, lots of hit points to boot, but he doesn't have anything else really to help him out. I do like Pulse Cannon though. You don't have to roll dice. You don't have to roll as many dice or chance it. You can just say, hey, 50-50 chance, 40 damage down the road, blast everybody. Overall, poor melee survivability. His attack is great. Damage output is also great. I think, yeah, okay, that's good. I just want to make sure that's consistent. His special abilities, though, are awesome. I'm okay replacing both of those previous Flamethrower, don't really care for it. Sonic Stunner, it's okay. Not bad, but replacing both of those for Pulse Cannon, in my opinion, is a good trade. His versatility, awesome. Ability synergy, also awesome. I think Pulse Cannon is a power that makes him, very versatile. Like, you can use him in a lot of situations, and he can just blow everybody up. So again, another very versatile bounty hunter. I think he's an awesome one. Blue Milk agrees. Very, very good score. And yeah, versatile bounty hunter. IG-88 Assassin Droid and Bounty Hunter, they're both going for about $25. So a little bit more pricey characters for the bounty hunters, but still not that bad. So the tankiness buffs should help him out a lot. Sorely needed. The Pulse Cannon is a ton of fun. And yeah, I personally love running this guy with Droid Army Commander. You just get so much damage. It's crazy. So much attack. He's a menace. And the only thing I wish is I really, really wish that Tarpal's commander effect included droids, because I would love to use Pulse Cannon twice. That's a dream right there. But unfortunately, that's not the way it goes. So let's move on to the next set of characters. I'm actually going through these kind of fast, but maybe I'll slow down a hair. There's just so many to talk about, and they're all really cool. So overall, I love this IG-88 Assassin Droid. Very nice. Pretty easy to get because he's just rare. Let's move on to Dengar. So the thing about Dengar, unfortunately, kind of gets held back. He's not... all the Dengars, I think they have a cool idea going for them, but they kind of fall flat, and you'll see. This Dengar, though, he's just fair. He's okay. He's just got 40, 17, 8, and 20. And then Bounty Hunter plus 4. So overall, though, for how much he costs, he's got good hit points. The survivability is not there, obviously. But the attack's really good. The max damage is... He just has one attack of 20 damage, so you can't fix that. The special abilities, Bounty Hunter, that's it. He just has Bounty Hunter, so that comes into play sometimes. It's okay. But I'm looking for more. He doesn't really have any synergy. In terms of versatility, I think I should bump him a little bit, because I do like that he has solid base stats. You can work around that. You can make it interesting if you want to. And overall, I think he's a fair character. So not very interesting in the ability department, but decent base stats, kind of a blank slate, if you will. Maybe you can improve him. So Blue Milk, very mediocre score. He's just a general bounty hunter, very cheap to pick up, and you could probably easily improve him with commander effects if you really want to, but it's up to you. Let's look at Dengar Bounty Hunter, though. This guy is very interesting. For a moment, I kind of like what he's going for. I like the Deadeye. The deadly attack's kind of fun, but he doesn't have enough hit points to do anything. So he's a 30, very much more expensive. He got only 50 hit points, 17, 9, and 30 damage this time. We got unique Bounty Hunter plus 4, of course. Deadeye to make it 40 damage. I like that. Then deadly attack, so getting a 10% chance of critical, which is nice with 30 damage. So if this guy gets lucky, he can do the damage. And then he has grenades 20, just kind of thrown on there because the bounty hunter characters, they tend to have just kind of a lot of abilities, and this happens to be one of them. So that's all right, fine and good. But overall, I think he's trying to be like a power shooter, just get like a really just strong shots off, just 1 or 2 strong shots off, but he doesn't have the survivability to do it. You have to set him up in place, and then once he's in place, then he'll just get killed. So he might get a shot off and then he'll die. So I've used him a few times, try to make him work. I haven't been able to make him work, but Anyways, overall, I think he's a fair piece. I don't think he's terrible, like horrible, but he's definitely below average. His hit points are they're bad. Range survivability bad. Melee awful. If a melee piece gets on him, they'll probably knock him out in one turn, maybe two. But on the flip side, his attack is really good. His max damage is really good. His special abilities are really good. So I do like the idea of what they're going for with him. They just might need it to upgrade this just a little bit, give him a little more survivability, if possible. But they did not do that. His ability synergy, it is really good. Deadly attack going with his damage. And Deadeye. Deadly attack is less impactful because you probably won't see it as often, but it is there. It does synergize. And his versatility overall is good, meaning I think Grenades 20 is an interesting thing to kind of throw in there. If you want, you can make that's a tool in the tool bag to use. And he does do solid base damage, but so that's why I don't want to go any farther than that. I'm already being too fair to him. And Blue Milk doesn't like him. I think he's just he's okay, not that awesome. But anyway, in summary, let's just say he's low HP, big red flag. He has an opportunity for lots of damage, but you need a lot of setup to make it happen. And I'd use Dengar Hive Killer instead. He's much more straightforward, and he's more sturdy than this character. And we'll see that in just a moment. For Dengar Hired Killer and also Dengar Bounty Hunter, I'd suggest using them with the commander effects where people like say, hey, someone in your squad can, move up to their speed before you activate or something like that. But there's a couple people, I know Revan can do it. There's some other people that can do it too. Not too many. I think if you put him with those squads, both Dengars, it's much better because you can set them up into a location, you give them intuition, and then they can get their power shot off if it's optimal. And then, if you want, you can use deadly attack. If you don't have to, whatever. But either way, it's like I think using him with those types of characters helps out a lot. Just to keep that in mind. Let's get to Dengar Hired Killer. So again, similar trend. The bounty hunters, they have lots of powers, and now we're kind of condensing it down in just a couple things that are really nice. However, the later characters will break that trend a little bit. But Dengar Hired Killer, same cost basically, but now the hit points are great. 90 hit points. It's much more reasonable. 19 defense, 12 attack. So we're really buffing him, but they reduce the damage to make way for Final Shot. So for Final Shot, it's he's the only guy who has this. It's on this character's turn. If he doesn't move, so it's like a strong Deadeye, he gets 30 damage against enemies with 50 or fewer hit points remaining. So I'm going to get back to this in just a second. I think it's really cool. So that's why I think you need to, if you do use him, if you can give him like double attack or something, then he can maybe he can one-shot multiple really solid characters and just wipe them out because he already has good base attack, really good base attack. Wow, amazing base attack. And then he has, Bounty Hunter +4 if you're doing these attacks against unique characters. So it's very just kind of straight to the point. It's like, if you're 50 hit points or less, you will die. And I like that. So overall, I think he's really, really good. He's kind of one-dimensional. So we'll get to that in a second. His hit points, great hit points. Range, his survivability for range, it's poor. It's not bad. It's just he doesn't have anything helping him except for some defense and some more tankiness. But that's okay. Melee survivability, not all that great. But his attack is exceptional. So for a 31, having 12 base attack is the best there is. He may be tied with other characters, but most shooters at 30, they'll be further down. They might be in the 8, maybe 9 range. So he does have exceptional base attack. I'll definitely remember that. His max damage is awesome. I am going to include Final Shot here because a lot of the characters you'll shoot, they'll either be damaged, they'll already have 50 or less, and if you don't move, if you use them correctly, I think that damage can be pretty wild, but since it's conditional, I'm going to temper my expectations. The special ability's really good. He just really has one, and it's a nice one. His ability synergy is great. So really it's just, I think Final Shot synergizes really, really well with kind of what he already has going on. His attack being high, much more tanky so he can get into a position and shoot. So that's very good. Versatility, though, not really there. He just kind of has one mission, and that's to just destroy, these weakened characters. So that's kind of what he's for. Not for other things, and that's okay. He doesn't have to be. Overall, I think he's great. A lot of fun. I haven't really used him that much, but just kind of thinking about how I would use him, he seems like he'd be a lot of fun to use. So, in summary, like I said, use him with commander effects that allow minis to move their speed before the round starts. That way you can really take advantage of setting him up. Or even, like Thrawn's, how you can, switch around. You could get a guy in a situation that you want and then swap him, and then he could shoot or something like that. So, lots of ways to make his power work around those limitations, but very good. And then finally, Final Shot, it kills about 60% of all the minis in the game in one shot. So there's over 900 minis, and about 60% of them have 50 hit points or less already, because there's so many commons and uncommons down there, and even, unique characters down there too. So that's the cool thing is, even by default, Final Shot just kills 60% of people in one shot. So you got to remember that. That's really cool. Really, really cool. So I like him. I think he's pretty fun. Although I'm not going to go overly crazy about him because he is very one-dimensional, but very fun. Very, very fun. So let's move on now to the Bosks. So with Bossk, the original one, he's disappointing in my opinion. So he's 17, but he has double claw attack. Based on his stats, though, he's 40, 17, 7, and 20. Those are all right, but if you're trying to use double claw attack, you will probably die before you ever get to use it. And double claw attack's a tricky one because most characters that have it, with a couple exceptions, they just die before they get to use it. So for him, I feel like double claw attack is just kind of there. Probably won't ever get to use it because you'll get killed too quick. And so the way I see it, though, he kind of reminds me, he has similar base stats to that Dengar we just looked at in Rebel Storm, but he has just one less defense, no big deal. He costs 2 more. Double claw attack, I don't really kind of factor that in too much. I don't think he'll get to use it. So if I was going to just use a Rebel Storm Bounty Hunter, I'd probably just use Dengar just for a hair cheaper and work around him, but it is what it is. However, he's not that redeemable. I think he's one of the few just really bad characters. I just wouldn't use him. His hit points, they're fair. His range survivability in melee, though, is very bad. He will just get killed like butter very quickly. Well, of course, unless you buff him, but I'm not going to factor that too much right now. His attack, though, is good. Having 7 attack, not bad. His max damage can be really good. It just kind of depends on... if you can use double claw attack. If you can't, then maybe it's more fair. So if you factor that in, it's good, but in the end it really isn't. His special abilities, poor, kind of just don't even, whatever. Ability synergy is not great. His versatility, he's not very versatile in my opinion. His commander effect, okay, none. His bounty hunter score, I think is poor. I just wouldn't use him for anything. He just doesn't interest me. If I have all the bounty hunters to choose from, he's probably my last choice, very last choice. And Blue Milk agrees. Blue Milk's pretty harsh. This seems like a little bit of a bot score. Lots of people spam in bad scores, but he's bad. That's as bad as it gets. Not good. His specialty is a melee brawler. Very, very cheap, reasonable to pick up. So in summary, doesn't add much. Double claw attack is really useless. He'll die before he gets to use it. And pretty bad bounty hunter. So let's move on to a funner version of Bossk. He's only a little better, just a slight stat increase. And he costs not too much more, so that's good. So Bossk Bounty Hunter from the Bounty Hunter set, he's 60 hit points, that's better. Defense 8, 17, attack 8, teeny better, 20 damage. So he's got a whole novel, so let's read this novel together. He's got Bounty Hunter plus 4, double claw attack, so I think he's got a little bit more that'll help him use it, which is good. Double claw attack, you gotta get yourself set up in a position. He's got flamethrower with 20, that's kind of fun, great, throw that in. Momentum, I like it, so he can run up to somebody, he can do 30 damage, 12 attack, maybe even 16, get that hit in, and then if he survives one round, or maybe if you set it up right, you can do it, win initiative, go again, then he can use double claw attack, and if he does, he's got regeneration 10 to keep him a little bit of extra, and then Ren 10, of course, is can do that extra damage. So it's I really like the pieces. I really like what's going on here. I just am still a little worried that he doesn't have enough to stay alive to, fully pack a punch, but I think he's got enough to maybe do it once or twice. So crazy set of abilities, like wow, lots of versatility going on here. I just worry that his hit points hold him back to fully be able to exploit all of this great stuff. But I love the moment. I love the idea, where he can run up, use momentum, get into position. Regeneration will keep him alive once he gets there a little bit, and then Ren 10 and double claw attack. In this case, is more awesome. So really cool idea. You'll see. I really like the next Bossk better. I think it takes this idea and perfects it. So with this Bossk though, he's a 25. So that's actually not bad. I think he is really good, but he's got some pros and cons. So his hit points, his survivability is all pretty fair. He's got nothing really to help him except for regeneration 10 really. I still worry 60 hit points, depending on who you're up against. He could melt kind of quick, but it's not horrible. So his melee survivability, fair, range is fair. Regeneration helps with all that, especially if it gets hit, run away, regenerate a little bit. But attack is good. His max damage is great, especially when you get that rend coming into play. You can move up and use momentum. So he does have great damage. His special abilities, I think, are great. They're not like incredible fantastic because there's just kind of a lot of things going on, but the pieces do work together well for his ability synergy to be awesome. So overall, his ability synergy is awesome. He's got great versatility. He can still shoot well enough. When he's up in your face, he's going to be a problem for a little bit. Flamethrower 20 is also just, a nice little cherry on top there. Can be a nice weapon in certain situations. So the synergy and the versatility is pretty fantastic. I do like that a lot. Overall, I think he's really good. Blue Milk basically agrees with that. He's a solid melee brawler, so he's got a nice array of offensive weapons. They go together well in a lot of cases. However, he has got poor HP. I really worry about that his HP is going to hold him back a lot, unfortunately. So I think he's a little bit less effective at melee brawling than he could be. But still pretty cool. So again, when it comes to this, all the bounty hunter models, they are much better than the Rebel Storm models because they have similar stats as the Rebel Storm ones, a little better, but they just have like a whole novel. They have so many powers you can choose from, and that's kind of fun. It's just you're just not gonna get to use them all. They may not all work together quite right before you die, and so when you get to the Dark Times models, it's like, okay, let's significantly upgrade these guys' stats so that they can use all these cool weapons. And I think they maybe overdid it a teeny bit, but it's okay. Totally okay. So let's get to Bossk Trandoshan Hunter. This guy, I think, and I've had so much fun with him, I think he is crazy good. Crazy good. So let's get into why that is. So he's 29, just a little more expensive, but his hit points are crazy. He's got 110 hit points on a 20, in the 20s, 29-point piece. That is phenomenal. So massive upgrade there, plus 50 over the last one. Defense, solid like the last guy, a little bit higher, better attack, same damage. And so let's see what they did to kind of condense this guy into something better. He's still got the usual generation, double claw. He's got Rend 20 now. I like that. And regeneration 10 is fun because when you have this many hit points, it's going to pay off a lot more. So the more hit points you have, the more runway you get for regeneration 10 in any situation to help you out more. And then Stun Mortar is pretty cool. So Stun Mortar, it replaces attacks, but it's a sight. So sight, living person, and everyone around him. So it's not like Stun Gas where you have to be Jason. It's not like Sonic Stunner where it's a short range. It's just like hey, if I'm in a situation, I can help my team out. I can help my other pieces while I'm navigating the board, navigating the fight. You could be like, okay, sight from far away, boom, you guys are activated, 50% chance perhaps. And then your teammates, and then not your teammates, but your other minis that are in the position, they can really benefit. So it's not paralysis because he's not doing damage, but geez, that's pretty cool. I really like that a lot. Really, really nice. And then he's got Rend 20, so instead of getting off, 50 damage on a melee, he can do 60, which is pretty strong. It does require a melee, but it's still pretty strong. So overall, I think he's so good. Oh my gosh, I think he's awesome. His hit points are awesome, like 110. That is about as high as you can get for this cost bracket. He's really good for survivability all around, just because he's much more tanky. He's got that regeneration 10. You can even use stun mortar. He doesn't have anything like, mobile attack. He doesn't have evade, all that kind of stuff. But that's okay. That's okay. I think it's all really good. His attack, great. 10 attack base is awesome. I do like that. His max damage is pretty great, especially when you're up in close. So if you're not close, it's more just kind of average. But when you're up close and you're using Ren 20, that's when it gets pretty awesome. Special abilities, awesome. I love all of these. They go together awesome. So that versatility and that synergy, he's synergized great. Like regeneration 10 is awesome for those close-up attacks. I'm okay that he loses momentum. Totally okay. He's got a little more attack. He's got Ren 20. And he's got enough hit points to be able to use this stuff, time and time again. So this stuff, great synergy. The versatility is there. Stun mortar is awesome. He can shoot. I know he doesn't have double claw attack, but he can at least, contribute in the shooting game. And if you don't want to do that, contribute with stun mortar until you get close. So I think he's got awesome all around. I think his bounty hunter score is extremely good. I also gave him one of the top scores as well. A great melee brawler. Again, 8.64 on Blue Milk. That's pretty good. And then in summary, I really like to use him for fringe. When you have like a fringe reinforcements 30, he's just awesome. It's like, okay, you set up. What do I need? You throw him in there, and he can be a fantastic bounty hunter to counter somebody after you've seen their squad. So I really like him in that situation. Stun mortar is very underrated. Being able to have the massive HP buff makes his regen 10 even better. His brawler powers are more potent. So in the end, in Star Wars, I like IG-88 a lot for Lam, but in Star Wars miniatures, I like this guy a lot. He's, I've used him many times, had a lot of success. He's a blast. Let's move on to Zuckuss. So now we're almost through all of these characters. I like Zuckuss. He's got some massive shortcomings, but I like the idea, and the idea gets better in the next Zuckuss. So he's a 22. He's got 40 hit points, not good. 15 defense, very bad. 8 and 20. So the stats are not with him, but he's got accurate, he's got unique, bounty hunter, intuition, and then of course he's got rapport with Forlom. I do think all three of these powers go together super, super great. Move up, shoot with accurate, with bounty hunter, get out of the way. So I love that idea, being able to do this, even though it's not a lot of damage, it's still very nice. So overall, I think he's good, a good mini. His hit points, they're poor. There's no way around that. His survivability is awful. So even though he's got intuition, normally you'd think that'd improve it. But 15 defense, what are we talking about? That's really bad. Hit points, that's not good. It isn't good. So if someone gets on top of him melee wise, he's got nothing to help him out. Sure, you could use intuition to get away a little bit, but he's still dead. His attack though is pretty good. Having 8 attack is solid. His special abilities are great. I love all of these ones. The synergy on them is also great. The versatility is pretty good overall. He's just held back because he doesn't do a lot of damage. His max damage is not good. So it's you can use him in situations to kind of move around, take a pot shot, move around, take a pot shot. But overall, it's kind of underwhelming at the end of the day. I love the idea, but the execution's okay, where are we going? As a bounty hunter, I still think he's good. And his abilities, he's a tactical sniper. And so in summary, even though the newer Zuckuss is way better, his base special abilities still very useful. He's very fragile, so be very careful how you plan to use his intuition. And then as well, Forlom paralysis definitely helps him out a lot. Forlom can come, paralysis somebody, and then maybe this guy can run in the open, shoot, be safe, and then when the round's over, perhaps move into a position that's safe. So clearly they designed Forlom and Zuckuss to kind of have their powers work off each other, but anyway. So he's okay, he's solid, but let's get to the real cream of the crop, who I think is one of the best bounty hunters, and the community already knows this, is Zuckuss Bounty Hunter. And this guy is outrageous. You take everything here, and then you put it on steroids, and then you wind up with this guy. So we got 35. We got 90 hit points, massive upgrade, massive upgrade. 20 defense, that's really high. That's like the highest of any of these bounty hunters, actually. 9 attack and 20 damage. So all in all, you got a lot of stuff going. You got the bounty hunter, of course, unique, accurate shot again, intuition. So we got the originals. We got rapport. Now you have snare rifle. So a character that just gets hit by this character's attacks, he can still activate, but he can't move. And so I think that's just so strong. Holy crap. So, if people are, it's just like, yes, they can't activate. They can still activate, but, there's some characters where that's just as good as activating them, like a melee character potentially. So I think Snare Rifle is pretty sweet. He's got force powers, and they're really good force powers. And anticipation, that's going to go very well with what he already has going for him. He's got Force Sense, which is also, also great for him as well. Great for other people on the team to be able to get those shots off on people, be able to get rid of that stealth sometimes. So, like I see what he has going for him. He doesn't have that damage output, but holy crap, this guy is a very incredible kind of tactical piece to kind of put into your squad that can fill a lot of roles, that can do some incredible things. So overall, I think he's awesome. Fantastic. He's a bit, he's both one-dimensional and versatile at the same time, because I think Snare Rifle, Intuition, Force Sense, all those things are very, very versatile powers, cover a wide variety of things. But at the end of the day, he's just kind of still okay, I'm going to use these powers to get off these really solid shots, to use Snare Rifle. So he's kind of using them to do very specific things. So overall, I still think it's pretty good. So let's take a look. He's got great hit points now. He's got great survivability, especially with this range survivability. Intuition helps a lot with that. And he's got great defense now. So his melee survivability is still fair. The reason it's not the worst is because, again, solid defense, but Snare Rifle can help if people are approaching him with melee. He can just keep moving and shooting, and making him stuck. So that's pretty cool. His attack is good, but his max damage is bad. That's the thing. That's the main thing that holds him back, is he just doesn't do damage. And that's not really what he's for, but it's something to mention. But his special abilities, though, I think are exceptional. And his force powers are great. So if you loop them all together, it's just such a awesome combination. And he can be special because of it. His versatility is still awesome. It's because his abilities synergize in a way where you can use his powers to do a lot of versatile things. In the end, in my opinion, I gave him a top score. Maybe I'm overdoing it, but I just really love what I see. I think he can be so much he's not the featured piece of the team, but he is such an incredibly strong supporting cast that I just felt like giving him one of the top scores for Bounty Hunter. I think he's exceptional. Blue Milk agrees. And when it comes to specialties, again, Tactical Sniper, not too pricey, although I don't really see this guy too often on eBay. And in summary, I think he's got an outrageous combination of abilities for being a tactical shooter. He's definitely lacking in damage, but that's okay. It's not what he's for. You can have other people on your team do the damage. And then him and Full-On Bounty Hunter, I think, is a great duo if you're going to use that rapport, because then both characters can use, Snare Rifle, you can use Paralysis, and the team is just, the enemy team is going to have a headache trying to get around all that and get to you. So anyway, let's continue going into the outro a little bit. Can't say enough good stuff about Zuckuss Bounty Hunter. So I decided to do something a little new where I'm ranking them all from worst to best. And this is based on the overall score that my algorithm spat out. Obviously, please disagree. I'm just kind of factoring in what the community thinks, kind of how good I think they are compared to each other. And then just as a mini, at the respective cost, what do they bring to the table? So let's see what happens. So overall, number 1, we got Bossk, last place. He's bad. Don't use him. Then you got Dengar. I think he's not that much better, really. I mean, in general, they do have a lot of the same stuff going on, but he's a little cheaper. Teeny weeny bit better stats. We got IG-88 going on next. Again, remember that great attack, but he does kind of fall flat in the end. Then we have Dengar Bounty Hunter. So we have a character from Bounty Hunter that's kind of fallen back here. So unfortunately, he's got a really cool idea, just doesn't have enough protection or oomph to be able to maybe use it as much as he could. Next we got Zuckuss. So I think he's kind of fun, solid idea, solid powers, but he's very, very weak. Let's move on to Forlom. So he's right at that 3.0 mark, basically. I think he's good. He's a good character. The original one, he's not spectacular. He's not bad. Solid. IG-88 Bounty Hunter, 3.38. He's a very solid character. He's really good. That 3.5 range is kind of where I say he's really good. Nice character. It's just he's a lot of different things going on. But I wish he had more stats to his name for how expensive he is. Forlom Droid Mercenary, solid character. I don't like him as much as Bounty Hunter, but it's okay. Then we got Bossk Bounty Hunter. Nice array of powers, very versatile, but again lacking in that survivability and stats department to be able to dish out and use all of these different abilities to support the team. Then we got Dengar Hired Killer. I think he's a lot of fun, pretty cool mini. Would love to build some sweet squads around him. And then Forlom Bounty Hunter, awesome sharpshooter, big fan, one of my personal favorites. IG-80 Assassin Droid. So we might be a little surprised. I think on Blue Milk he's number 1, and that's totally fine. I like him a lot. It's just I like what the other guys bring to the table just a little bit more. Next we got Zuckuss Bounty Hunter, just narrowly beat out by Bossk Trandoshan Hunter, and this is just kind of my overall composite score of how it calculates it. In the end, if you're above 4.0, it doesn't matter where you fall. You're fantastic. You're doing great stuff. So, I'd assume most of you would probably put Bossk in 3rd place, and I agree. It's just, man, I love the versatility of this Bossk. I love what he brings to the table. I just love his powers. He's so much fun. However, I think as far as bounty hunters go, I decided to give the nod to Zuckuss Bounty Hunter and say, hey, I think he might be one of the most awesome bounty hunters. I think he's a fantastic bounty hunter with his powers, even though it doesn't do the damage. So, Trandoshan Hunter, he does the damage. Bossk Bounty Hunter, he can, be there to, I don't know, support, I guess. But so anyways, hope you enjoyed that aspect to it. And let's move on to the usual ending. Here's the whole summary. Feel free to pause it, take notes or whatever. I have the key in the bottom right corner, and this corresponds to all of the rankings and things I did earlier. Just to quickly summarize, we have the Forloms on the left. They're just solid sharpshooters. The Forlom Bounty Hunter, he's the best. He's got paralysis, and that's fantastic. The other ones are nice. They're nice characters. They're okay, but they don't wow me as much. We got IG-88s. The thing about IG-88s, he's very versatile. He's the only one that has double attack, so he can dish out maybe a little bit more damage in general. He's got opportunist traditionally, lots of really high attack, good bounty hunter. Overall, very, very versatile. I like the last one especially because he's got the hit points. He's got pulse cannon, very nice. Then we got the Dengars. Overall, the Dengars for the most part are pretty disappointing. He's really meant to be like a power shooter. But the first guys don't quite execute that. Dengar Hired Killer, he's pretty good. He's got a fun power. Would be a lot of fun to plan around and work or squat around that. We got Bossk. All those guys, they're those melee brawlers. The first one falls flat on his face. Bossk Bounty Hunter, nice versatility. Doesn't have the stats to help him out. Bossk Trandoshan Hunter, he's fantastic all across the board. Amazing versatility, ability synergy, and he's beefy, so he's very tanky as well. And then finally we got Zuckuss's. I really like the tactical sniper thing he's got going on there, but Zuckuss Bounty Hunter really just takes the cake, has just a little bit more to fill that role to pure perfection. And this is all it, guys. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely a much longer video. I was going to break into smaller ones, but I think it'd be more fun to just kind of do them all at once, to rank them like I did, just say like, hey, based on everything we've talked about and everything I've looked into, who's the worst, who's the best? And really at the end of the day, even if some are better than others, everyone has a use. They can all fit in different squads for different reasons. So in the end, if you've stayed this long, I appreciate it. I'll definitely put markers so you guys can skip around if you want to as well. But with that, please like, please subscribe, please comment. So if you've made it through this video, definitely please comment. I'd love to hear what you think about all these bounty hunters. There's so many that we just went through, and they're all pretty cool for the most part. There's some really, really cool ones up here. So I'll leave it at that. Until next time, I will see you all later.